So it's interesting you said neutral way. What do you mean by that?
It's a very international concept.
So first thing I want to know from you is what is your favorite aspect of the real estate industry?
High stake, high income. Definitely. I think that's the first word they want to hear.
Thank you, Navin, for joining us today on Let's Talk Business series by Realty NXT.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine.
So, Navin, before we delve into the actual know-how of ArisUnitern, I want to know personally from you, what made you become an entrepreneur in real estate industry? Was there any kind of moment or maybe an experience that made you, oh, this is the journey I want to take and I want to carry this forward?
So entrepreneurship comes in blood. I'm a Marwari. So that came in blood. I was the black sheep of the family, didn't do it for 20 years. So finally decided to take the plunge. Why? 20 years into real estate, had looked into investment banking, then private equity, then almost 8 years in Piramal Capital, where did both debt and equity, and had gone through two big cycles of 2008 and then 2018 when ILFS happened, and saw how the transformations and the cycles of real estate keep moving. Why I love real estate is the creation, and it is ultimately, in our country, it is the roti, kapra, and makan. So it is an integral part of our life. What 2018 did, it gave us that black swan event, and then followed by COVID, where a lot of projects simply got stuck. And that these people have put their, the blood and the sweat into getting those houses, and the houses were not getting completed. Now, as an employee, you'll try to solve as much as problem, but you're limited by your organization and the needs and the commitments of the organization. So over a cup of a filter coffee in Bangalore, and Shini decided that we need to do little more and give back to the fraternity, which because of which we have reached wherever we have, and in a much more neutral way, not influenced by the chairs we are sitting on. And that is where ArisUnitern came into being, and we said, let's try and do something. We don't know what will we do. We just know that we wanted to do something and give back to the fraternity, which made us what we are today. And that's how this started.
So it's interesting you said neutral way. What do you mean by that?
See, if you are a lender in a Piramal Capital or any other organization, right? If you are a developer who is looking at a stress asset, you'll always look at it from the eyes of your company, and you'll try to find a solution which gives an economic benefit to your organization. That is what is your job, right? You'll still be looking to solve the problem, but with the influence of how it will benefit me and my organization. Instead of that, if you're looking more from a neutral point of view, then you are looking at the solution of that same problem, which is the most optimum solution for the problem, and not influenced by your chair, which may be not your company, it may be some other company, it may be a Swami fund coming in, it may be another developer coming in, it may be no one coming in, just putting in that little money to get that problem solved, because which is typically the case. The chain of your cycle falls down. You don't need to do anything. You just need to open the screw, put it back, turn it, and back, or just grease it a bit. But if you are, if you're looking from a cycle service company, then you can't give that solution. You say, oh, I have to make money out of it. You see how hospitals work nowadays. So if you don't want to be doing that, you want to look at it, and if just a drop of grease is good enough, then you just do that and solve it. So that is where we wanted to be more neutral. The right solution, the optimum solution, not influenced by the economic factors of it.
Which can be profitable as well.
Yes.
So ArisUnitern is a development management company. Can you let our viewers first know what is a development management company?
ArisUnitern is a development management company and more, but from a perspective of development management company, it's a very international concept. The whole idea of development management means that you will manage the entire construction process of the project, you'll manage the cash flows of the project, lender management of the project, and the sales management of the project. So practically, you are doing the same role as a typical developer will do. But instead of a developer here, some of the developers are also now doing development management for other projects. Or it can be here in our case, it is being done by a set of professionals who are managing it
Hmm.
and ensuring that the project is completed and fully sold out, and all the stakeholders of the project get what they were expecting to get. How is it different? Let's take an example of an L&T or a Shapurji.
Yeah.
They are construction companies.
Hmm.
So what they do is only pure construction.
Yeah.
They don't manage the development from end to end. That is, they will our development manager will look into the designing part of it, looking into the whether the contractor is doing the work on it, maybe even will work as a PMC or manage the PMC who is controlling the designs, timelines, everything on it, will ensure that there are enough cash flows to manage that construction at the same time, whether it is coming from the sales collection or whether it is coming from the construction finance lender. Uh, Also, unlike on the sales side, now there are examples of sales agencies like Xanadu, Anarock, which we all know, Guardian in Bombay. Now they are only focused on getting the sales done of the project.
Yeah.
They are not bothered about how the construction is happening, how the cash flow management is happening. So here we get into the shoes of them also. Either we are doing that or we are hiring those sales agencies to ensure that the entire project is successful.
Okay.
So we are stepping into the shoes of all or getting the right agency and managing the entire thing. We are the sutradhar to ensure that the project is completed, the customers get their house, the sales are done, and the manner it was supposed to be, that project gets completed as it was desired. So we play the role of a sutradhar to get entire thing done. Uh, Internationally, as I said, it's very common. In North, I think there's one Black Opal or someone who is doing it. There are a lot of developers now who have stepped into the role of a development manager, especially for other developer stuck projects.
Yeah.
We are probably a little unique because probably we are one of the only professional set in Bombay to Bangalore or South India who are doing the same thing.
So I was going to ask you that also, how ArisUnitern is going to position itself, compared to the other players. As you mentioned, developers are also now getting into it, and already some are doing it. What specific values do you bring it to your clients in?
So we the pluses and the minuses are probably we don't carry the big brand of the developers. What we bring is we are not taking away the brand of the existing project also. So if let's say an XYZ developer is stuck, and let's say Shriram Properties or a Purvankara or a Shobha comes as a development manager, then it becomes a Purvankara or a Shobha or a Purvankara project.
True.
Now, the project could have got stuck because of various reasons, including we have just passed through an LFS incident, a COVID, and everything. So when we are entering, we are still trying to see if the existing brand remains and his value is not taken off. So so there is a positivity from the existing developer that you are not removing my brand and you're not taking away that from me. We are a set of professionals. So there are no hidden costs, there are no leakages. It is what it is written out there, right? Yeah. So that helps. We are not probably as costly as a lot of developers would be. So probably that adds because when the project is in stress, every rupee counts for completing the project, for the customers to get their house, for the lenders to get their money back, for the developer who has who's taken all the risk and made the project reach wherever it is from there, to get his some last rupee because he is the last man standing in any case. So we try to be more reasonable and give our best.
So the company ArisUnitern provides variety of services offerings, including finance advisory, working capital fund, sales force support, as well, access to construction materials. How do you make sure all these integrated services are working together in a seamless and efficient manner, and creating a seamless experience for your clients also? And what kind of success you have got from this kind of approach?
Okay, so let me give a small background on ArisUnitern for that. So basically, we call ourselves a 3M company. The whole
Hmm.
idea of ArisUnitern is to simplify the problems of the real estate across its value chain. How we are doing it? We are doing through our 3M service, as we call money, material, and management.
Yeah.
As you said, we are all the functions which you explained comes under this three.
Hmm.
Now, how we integrate them is we have our professional heads who are managing each of these departments.
Hmm.
And then again, I and Srini play a role at the top to ensure that all the connections and the experience for the customer is seamless across the sector.
Hmm.
And it is not very difficult if you see, because they're very, very varied. Money is just getting the right lender who will provide the money for such kind of projects,
Hmm.
whether it is a development project or a stress project. Material is a very independent thing managed by a very, we have about 100 member team sitting out of Bombay managing them, and
Hmm.
about 20 people in Bangalore. So there are a set of professionals who are doing it there. We have now, how is it integrated? Is through our development management experience. So that is where Srini and his team,
Hmm.
a set of professionals who have more than 20-25 years of experience in development management, ensure that this wheel is running very, very smoothly without any hiccups,
Hmm.
and how to connect and seamlessly manage between all these departments.
So real estate industry is full of complexities, and especially when it comes to local approvals, right? And ArisUnitern provides all these services as you mentioned, but accept local approvals. So how do you assist your clients by making sure that this particular aspect is taken care? Also, the timely project is executed.
So two different things, as you said. One is approvals, one is timely execution.
Yeah.
Now, we believe that the main role of a developer is to acquire the land at the best possible price, at the best possible location, and manage the environment, including approvals. Those are little difficult, not impossible, for a set of professionals. I think that is what separates us. One point probably negative to the developers, but that is where we believe that the developers are the best guys to get those things done. We help them wherever it is important. But I think that is one part where developers are better than us. Now, once that is done, then project completion is a matter of most problems get solved by money. If you have the money in place, whether it is lender or sales collections, then project can be delivered on time, because then it is more about cement pouring and ensuring day to day hammering in that the what has to be done on that per chart to get the project completed. Then that is possible, and we have enough and good team to get that part done.
Okay. And you would also know that when it comes to real estate industry, right collaboration, having right partners is a very important thing. How does ArisUnitern make sure or assist the developers in choosing the right partner, maybe through JVs, joint ventures, maybe through joint development agreements, or even outright acquisitions? What are the main criteria you look for when you're evaluating the potential partners?
As you said, and you actually said the right thing, that the most important part is the right partner.
Yeah.
So, lot of time we talk about. I have been an investor or lender most of my life. We always say that the first criteria of investment is counterparty, counterparty, counterparty. Now, we had that discussion with a lot of developers also, that in real estate there are two most important raw materials: land and money.
Money, yeah.
Now, the guy who gives you money does so many ref checks, talks about you, checks your history, balance sheet for so many years, your repayment track record. Why don't we do the same thing when we are providing the land? And that is where we see, whether it is Bombay, whether we see in Bangalore, other places, there would be JDs which are 4 year to 14-year old, and they have nothing has happened on it.
Yeah.
Correct? Or the projects have started and got stuck midway. A lot of time we are influenced by the economic percentages which are being offered, not understanding that whether your partner has the capability A to deliver the project, or B, in those percentages, is it feasible for the guy to actually make money? If you are influenced by the percentage and not understanding that in those percentages will not make sense, then what is he going to do? He is going to delay your project till the project becomes feasible, and then only he is going to start the project. Otherwise, they will not make him any money.
Yeah.
So that is the analysis and the feasibilities we try to explain to the land guys, whether you're buying land or giving land, that it has to make economic sense as on date, and do a full ref check on your counterparty before tying up those deals. Ensure that the documents along with the lawyer are put in a way that you have that if you're giving the project, the developer has to deliver the project in a given time. Because it is definitely once a landowner is given the land for development, neither he has money or any control on money or nor on the project, right? So that becomes very, very important. We try to tie up in such a way that he has route to solve, save himself, save all the other stakeholders in the project.
So, quite rightly put, and you have safeguarded the developer by getting the potential partner. But how do you safeguard ArisUnitern? Why I'm asking this question? Because earlier we used to see a lot of stalled projects getting funded by certain finance companies. But when that happens, we have also seen developers using that finance for another project altogether, or even just running away with the money. How do you safeguard ArisUnitern with such developers when you face with stalled projects?
Absolutely good question. See, once the project is in stress, it has happened because of the problems in the project, also because there is a stress at the group level of the developer. Otherwise, the developer would have got some monies from somewhere else and would have solved the project. So it is absolutely true that even if you bring money to the project, it is not the ultimate solution for the project. It is how you control the cash flows, because developer would have issues, day-to-day issues or stress in his various other projects, may have hand loans. So even if the intention is not there, but there are chances of leakages simply because of the pressure he is going through on a day-to-day basis. How do we solve that? The only way to solve that is a very watertight security structure, and more importantly, a very watertight cash flow escrow structure, where you ensure that every single rupee which is coming into the project, whether by the investor or from the sales collections, are utilized correctly towards the completion of the project only. Once the project is completed, then automatically the project will sell and bail out. But till that is not done and the investors are not out, on a day-to-day basis, we need to control the cash flows. And it will not only happen by sheer documentation of escrow accounts and having a joint partner, joint signatory, etc. It has to be actually done on a day-to-day basis. You have to have very strict monitoring of that. Some of the ways we do it, other than obviously monitoring the cash flows of it, is like, for example, what are the ways of leakages? Let's identify. It is material, where you can do under invoicing, over invoicing. So that is where we use, let's say, an ArisInfra, which supplies all the material. Now, because the money is coming from an institution at the best possible rate with different quotations taken, we ensure, and with a quantity surveyor or a project guy head there, we ensure that the material money is going at the right place and the materials are actually getting delivered on the site. And the proper inventory is being taken. Then we ensure that the proper labor payments are happening. So with all those things, we are able to ensure, minimize. I don't know if it can be zero, but we try to see that we minimize any kind of leakages from the project. That's the only way to solve it. There's no other way. You have to get your hands dirty.
So make our viewers also understand with a simple example. I'm a developer who's just stuck with the project and have to finish the project hours. And I need working capital.
Perfect.
So you come help me with the working capital, but you also look that I have to get my contractor changed. Maybe you do the certain study and inspection, how you go about it, and how do you finalize of giving me that working capital so that I can go ahead and finish the project, and make us go through each step by step so that we understand ArisUnitern role in this.
So most important thing is first to understand what is your monies which have gone into the project. And what are the balance receivable into the project and what the balance spends are. Now, we cannot rely first of all on the balance collection from sales, especially from the sold units. Why? Because this project is already delayed. So
True.
those collections from sold units will never come in time.
Yeah.
So first we have to identify that working capital gap very properly. Second, not too much rely on immediate sales and sales collection to come into the project, because if the project is already delayed because of the stress, the the sales will take time.
True.
It first, the image of the project need to be rebranded and show actual work on the site. Then only the customers will start walking in, believe on the project, and then start buying.
Yeah.
So we have to consider a little more working capital than less. A lot of time we make those mistakes to just to have so-called covers on our cash flows out there. Once that is done, then we need to provide ample amount of money for the entire financial closure of the project. Ideally, assuming no sales if possible. But depending upon which phase of the project you're entering, you may assume some sales collection towards the end of the project. That is about ascertaining the amount of working capital which is being provided. That is phase one. Phase two, again, as you said, that to complete it, we need to ensure that there are no leakages on it.
Yeah.
So that can happen on multiple ways. If you think the developer is stressed, you may have to get sometimes an alternate developer to complete the project, or you need to get a professional set of development management or monitoring agencies to ensure that there are full control and monitoring of the cash flows. Third, you may have to change the contractor, get your own contractor in place, again, just to ensure there are no leakages out there. Similarly, you need to do a thorough diligence on who are your vendors and material suppliers. Again, you may want to get, again, as I said, whether it is ArisInfra or other mechanisms, but we need to ensure that the materials are getting delivered in a proper way.
Right.
So you may have to change all the vendors out there.
Okay.
Once all this are done and the project has moved to a certain level, then you may have to have the right sales agency out there. If the developer has a capable team and it is just a matter of working capital, it may be the developer sales team, or you may have, there are now very good reputed third party sales agencies available, be it Anarog, Xanadu, Flow, etc. Even ArisUnitern now has its own sales agency. You have to get the right sales agency based on the project, based on the location, to get the sales and the sales collection done. But first, we need to get the project at a certain level before, and then do a full marketing strategy before we bring it. Because you don't want to, again, honestly spend on the marketing and sales.
Yeah.
Because the first thing is the project. True. Then comes all your entire strategy out.
Yeah.
So that once you have done that, I think the project can reach its reasonable conclusion. So, and obviously, sorry, one part I missed is your existing lender. If you are, that is a challenge which all of us have been facing. But that, I think we can structure it out. I think government has been supporting on it through SAMI Fund or other agencies to support that.
So while you were telling me about the process, I also have noticed that L&T, being the construction company, they have done that with few developers, where they have seen the developer, if the project needs to be finished in 1 or 2 years, they tell the developer, we'll finish the project. We are the construction company, will finish in 2 years. You just have to make sure the day we finish in 2 years, उससे पहले आप हमारा payment कर देना. If you don't, I have the right over the building to sell the unit according to myself. That is a security given or taken by them. What kind of security do you take from these developers whom you're telling ki, okay, I'm changing all of these vendors, I'm making sure the selling will happen and the money which I'm putting in is also going to come back to me. Of course, your investors' money and all of that interest is provided back. But how do you make sure of that?
So we again, as I said, in terms of security, we'll be having the mortgage of the entire project and all the units. We'll be all having all the hypothecation, escrow, personal guarantees, all PDCs, DPN, all those, whatever best possible security a typical bank, NBFC or a fund will take, will be definitely be taking all those securities. That's given, if I say. But what we take more is the control on the project, because those securities are there for the worst time. The difference, you gave a good example of L&T, that we do that. We get even contractors on barter, because we cannot raise enough money. So we even get contractors who will probably take some stock and start doing the construction. So that is another way of providing money, right? It just may not be money in itself.
Yeah.
It may be getting those contractors who will do a barter with them.
True.
But the problem, you gave a good example of L&T. The problem is L&T probably will be waiting till that last day to understand whether the money will come or not.
Yeah.
Then the question will come that, okay, since you are not able to pay me, I'm taking over the stock. Then may come a litigation, then there may become, all the problems may arise at that point of time. That at what value this will come, why should I be give me more time? The whole idea is not to reach that last day. So that is where the entire control mechanisms and strategy and the development management and the sales come to place, that we need to ensure that we are not reaching the last day. The construction is happening. Whatever else need to be done, let's ensure, because where is the developer going to bring the money last day? We need to start ensuring the sales.
Yeah.
Once the development process is solved, you need to start solve the sales problem. We need to ensure any of the sales collections which have come have not gone out. It has gone to pay every stakeholder, including the contractor who is taking that risk. Once you have done that, much before the last day, the L&T will anyway be paid, right?
Yeah.
So if the same thing is done, where over L&T, you bring a development management or a professional management team to take care of entire cash flow management and the sales management, then the entire problem of L&T is automatically solved. He doesn't have to wait till the last day.
True.
That is the role what we play.
So you are taking care of all these verticals, but what is the major challenge are you facing when it comes to taking these stalled projects? What is the one major challenge?
So there are two major challenges I would say. One is on the structuring part, because wherever you have an existing lender, a lot of times you do not have ample cover, and a lot of these lenders are not, because of provisional, provision cost and other things, they are not able to take a backseat even if they know that is the right step for the project to get solved. They are able to sell it to some ARC or those, but not take those provisions, restructure it, because then a lot of the provision norms of RBI hit them. That does not allow a good optimum solution to some of these projects. Two is obviously the money. So because it is stress assets, raising money is always a difficult task towards it. We have got supporters, we have some family offices and else who are helping us out. Government through Swami Fund have definitely taken a forward step towards solving these problems. But I think a lot more need to be done around it. We need to create some kind of a structured stress fund, probably, or any support from the government other than Swami also, which can help us raise some monies to solve these projects. Because again, the Swami is doing whatever it can, but a lot of time they're looking at larger projects, and then there are smaller projects which also need to be solved, because that is where the real customers are. So we need to do a little more on how to get more monies to solve the stress assets, because that is the real solution, other than a lot of other things what we do.
So I want to know, Swami Fund is a SEBI registered fund, of course, the company being involved. I want to understand, when it comes to companies like ArisUnitern, is there any entry barrier when you are entering this industry? Are there any kind of policies where companies like yours can be regulated?
It has to be, and it is completely regulated, because when we are raising funds to invest into such assets to solve weather, then this money needs to be raised from the public or institutions, multifamily offices, HNIs, etc. So as part of the entire pooling process, it need to be regulated by the government. We are looking to raise an AIF to get this monies and do more towards solving these problems. But it is regulated.
Okay.
Because you're dealing with pooling of funds.
Yeah. So there is a interesting offering that you have provided, that is access to construction material in one click. Could you tell us more about this service? What exactly it does, and how are you providing this service?
So ArisInfra is a tech-based material supply company, which did a turnover of close to 1,000 crores last year. The whole idea of ArisInfra is that it provides material on a click of button using technology to all the construction companies, infrastructure companies, developers at a best possible rate and in best possible time frame to enable efficiency in the entire construction process.
So there are a lot of prop companies which are into procurement, even in the construction
Yes.
material. Do you collaborate with such companies, or you feel that in ArisInfra the complete vertical of the procurement, the materials, everything is covered? So collaboration right now is not required.
We are collaborating at all points of time because the whole idea is to bring more and more efficiency.
Yeah.
If any of those property companies provide any kind of more knowledge efficiency, we're more than happy to collaborate because the idea is to provide service to the construction companies and the infrastructure companies. So we are more than happy. We are collaborating with material companies, RMC plants, and also PropTech companies as such to bring more and more efficiency into the infrastructure and the development process.
So, as the CEO of ArisUnitern, what is the long-term vision for the company? What milestones have you set that you're planning to achieve?
So, as CEO of ArisUnitern, we have set ourselves a 5-year target wherein we want to reach close to 1,000 crores in development management in terms of top line.
Hmm.
We want to list out our sales division, which is comparable to a Xanadu or Analog, but it's very, very in early stage right now. Uh, we want to set up close to 2,000 crore of funds in an asset management, which will be towards growth capital of developers and also into resolving any of the stuck and stressed projects to ensure it reaches a reasonable conclusion. And in coming years, will you also be looking at the fractional real estate investment also? In short to midterm, we are not looking at fractional ownership. Okay. There's a lot of good work being done by companies like PropShare, Strata in that field. I think there are a lot of other startups which are entering into that field and is slowly getting crowded. But as part of our strategic decisions in Giraffe, in future we may be looking to add that as a product into the entire product offering. So, Naveen, I want to know the alliance with Giraffe that you guys have had, where the line of credit is 250 crore. How this funds will be utilized in what manner? Also, how much it brings skin to the game for you guys after this alliance? So, Giraffe is a strategic partner of ArisUnitern. The idea of this 250 crores is to go towards development management projects. What we perceive is because we are not so-called branded developers with not so much proven track record as ArisUnitern in development. It may have challenges for other financial institution, investors, etc., to provide money for projects where ArisUnitern is managing the project along with the landowners slash stock projects, etc. Yeah. So in those projects, based on the credibility of ArisUnitern, Giraffe will be providing the line of funds towards execution, acquisition, and sales and marketing so that the project can be completed and sold. We have already done one project called as Ananya 95 in Chennai, where Giraffe has funded working capital. Project has got all approvals and launched. We got the Analog as our sales agency, and we were able to clock close to 40 sales out of 185 units at the launch stage itself. Nice. Proving that we have the capability to get approvals, get the sales done at the beginning itself. And this we are doing for Invest Corp, a Bahrainian fund, to get them out of the stress in that project. So, can you give us an overview of the ongoing projects right now, which is currently going under ArisUnitern? So, right now, most of the projects what we are doing under ArisUnitern are more investment projects. The development management projects are more in pipeline, which all of them cannot be named right now. Okay. I gave an example of Ananya 95, where we are doing development management, where that is, as I explained earlier, the entire execution management, cash flow management, lender management, as well as sales management is completely being done by us. We have launched the project with good sales clocked already, and there would be about 6 more projects which is under pipeline, which should be there in next 12 to 15 months, which will be launching. So, in the existing current market, whom do you feel is a direct competitor to ArisUnitern? It is the developers which are direct competitors to us, which is very healthy. The
Hmm.
whole idea is this whole business has to grow and the marketplace has to grow. We do not have a professional setup like that who are directly competing with us.
Hmm.
And that is where the unique combination of my and Srini, his development background, my investment background comes into good use. The developers will always be competition to us because they have been doing it for the longest time.
Hmm.
But from professional setup point of view, we don't see any other competitor who is there in the market doing the same.
So, Naveen, last segment remaining, which is very quite famous if you would have seen our Let's Talk Business, is Rapid Fire, where we don't talk about career so much, but know a bit about the person. So, let's start with the rapid fire, but
Sure.
do not take much time because you want to exactly get what thought is coming to you, the statement I talked to you about. Yeah.
Definitely.
So, first thing I want to know from you is what is your favorite aspect of the real estate industry?
The creation.
The
So if you
creation.
look at, I'm sorry, I'm adding to it, but if you look
No,
at
no,
most of
please.
the cities or countries in the world,
Hmm.
you identify them with the real estate. The Tower of Pisa,
Yeah.
the Eiffel Towers, Statue of Liberty,
Hmm.
Empire Building, Red Fort, Charminar. So if you look, most of the cities you identify from the real estate aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
So it's the creation, it is creating something substantial and remembering it is what attracts me to real estate. Having seen it from the ground stage to a completed mall,
Hmm.
that gives you the experience that yes, I was there when it was
True.
at the ground state. That gives me the adrenaline rush of being part of the real estate.
True. So, if you have to describe yourself in 3 words, and why those 3 words?
Hardworking,
Hmm.
problem solver,
Hmm.
uh, persistent.
Great. So, tell me if you could have a superpower to help you in your entrepreneurial endeavors, what would it be?
I should have 48 hours in 24 hours.
Okay. So, one word to describe the culture of ArisUnitern.
Ethics.
The most challenging project you have ever worked on and how you overcame it.
I think it is still to come.
Still to come. Okay. What is your favorite way to celebrate a business milestone or achievement?
Pat your back and go to the next project.
No parties. Okay. Your go to strategy for fostering successful partnerships with clients.
Win-win scenario. It always has to be fair and
Hmm.
win-win. You understand his problem, he understands your problem, then only you can have a long run. You have to be a giver. You
True.
can't be just be a taker. Most partnerships fall because you're just trying to take.
Yeah. Interesting. Best piece of advice you have ever received in your career.
Choose a team which is more better than you in
Hmm.
something or the other. Because then as a comprehensive team, you are always better than most people in the world.
True. And you learn from each other.
Yes.
True.
So the problems in most problems, whether it is personal life or professional life, comes out of insecurities.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer that you need to develop a sense of security
Hmm.
amongst each other.
Hmm.
Then if there's then all the most 90% of the problems in your life is gone. So always hire people who are better than you.
Hmm. And the worst advice you have ever received.
Work-life balance. I don't believe in that.
You don't.
No. You have to see there is always different parts of life or different phases of life.
Hmm.
If you are taking this job and you want to help the industry, you have to work hard. You can't say I'm in a startup and I want to work life balance. The whole idea of a startup
Hmm.
is that you have to give it day and night and make it reach from 0 to 100. Now, if you want to do a startup and still want to think work life balance, then you're not in a startup. Then go in a cushy job and do something nice.
No, I agree. People who are looking for 9 to 5 jobs can have the work
Yeah.
balance, but as an entrepreneur, you can't.
Normal people reach nowhere.
So, your best book or the book that has influenced you throughout your professional journey?
I think that is still to come.
Still to come. Okay. So, what excites you the most about the future of the real estate industry?
India is going through a big change. We
Hmm.
have become the fifth largest economy or third largest economy now with $3 trillion. We have crossed UK, and I think we have reached a support level where it is going to go rapidly from here. We still remain one of the youngest crowd population in the world. There's a reskilling of entire IT which is happening out there. I believe, and I firmly believe, this is going to be our decade. If
I
we
agree.
if we move from here, we will be the next superpower.
True.
And just we need to focus on it. That's all. Stick to the basics.
Mm. Okay. So, your favorite quote that motivates you in your role as a CEO?
The answer of all problems is in the problem itself. So if you
Mm.
study the problem properly,
Mm.
most times you don't have to look for the solution anywhere else. You'll get the answer there. We just need to study the problem properly.
Agreed. Are you a early riser or a late person?
Early riser.
Early riser. So, if you have to make our viewer go through a complete one day, as from the beginning of the morning, how your schedule is like?
I typically get up between 3:45 to 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Sit around 4:15 to 4:30 to finish all my work because that's the most silent time. No family is disturbing you, no calls is
Emails.
disturbing you. So 4:30 to 6, I finish all my work, all my mails. A lot of time I'm not even able to open my laptop during the entire day. So that's my time when I get to think and decide what should be prioritized. I think that is you. That is the most important thing for me, and what should be given to whom. After that, I go for my walk or exercise. 7 o'clock, my daughter is awake. Till she is going to school, it's her time. Uh, whole day's office. Back at around 7:38. Uh, I'm just hoping my daughter is not slept. If she's not, we'll have 1 hour good time, maybe a good dinner, and then I actually go to bed by 9:30.
Wow. Okay. So, what's your guilty pleasure?
The occasional parties that goes on till 2 o'clock.
And if you have to name three favorite dishes of yours?
The green Thai green curry from Thai Pavilion in Taj. Then um, you know there is dal pakwan in a place in Chembur,
Yeah.
and I'm a Calcutta Marwari. So the club kachori and sabji in Calcutta any day, any time.
And you've been in real estate, and I'm sure, as you mentioned about your daughter, in future, what knowledge or what advice you would want to impart to your children?
I don't want them to come first and second in the class. I, more than the academic knowledge, I want to give them practical knowledge. I want them to. I tell my daughter that you need to know maths, not because you need to come first. You need to know maths because whether you want to be an artist, doctor, any profession, ultimately, if you're doing something, then you need to know your profit and loss.
True.
So that is why you need to know maths more than anything. It's not about just your academics. So the practical knowledge, I believe that in our education system, even at our initial ages till class 10, basic accounts, maths, and business, basic laws need to be taught because that is going to go whether you start owning a hospital, whether you are doing a business of paintings or anything. You still need to know your basic business acumen need to be developed so that you don't go wrong.
No, I completely agree. And especially even teaching kids from the younger age about how to become an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
It's not all the glam. It's even about having that business acumen.
Absolutely. Because uh, I don't need it in a very negative way, but most of the education system what we have has come from the Britishers' time,
Yeah.
and it is made in a way to make us more employee-driven clerks or just employees. It need to move from that to you create a culture of innovation, acumen, and doing becoming entrepreneurs because that is what is going to make India really great.
Mm. And if you had to describe Indian real estate into three positive words which can make aspiring young professionals to enter in real estate, what those would be?
High stake, high income. Definitely, I think that's the first word they want to hear. Creation, and it's long term. I have a serious issue when people are negative about real estate because See, today, if you look at the history of most of the banks and their recoveries, your spinning mill went wrong, your any industry went wrong. The recovery, actual recovery in most cases, have come from the underlying real estate by selling the land, doing something around
Yeah.
that, and still we are not so happy or we feel negative about real estate. Others are ideas. Real estate has a underlying real estate. So I
Mm.
believe that this is actually in real estate you can have delays and NPS, but actually the chances of bad debt, unlike other industries, is almost zero if you're stuck to basics,
True.
which we don't understand
Yeah.
or don't want to understand.
Nicely put. So, which is your favorite book and why does it resonate with you?
So this book is called What It Takes by Stephen Cosman,
Mm.
the head of Blackstone. And why it inspires is it is about how his life influenced him to become and create one of the largest real estate funds in the world and that's one company in the world, and how after from a cushy job he turned into an entrepreneur or a fund manager of his own, and the kind of difficulties he faced to
Yeah.
raise his first fund, and
Mm.
the initial the starting point of he getting drenched in the rain while trying to
Mm.
get a meeting with
Mm.
a potential investor, which would have been a 2 minute job if he was in his old job. Those are the very aspiring factors why this book became very favorite of mine.
So, if you could have dinner with any real estate mogul, living or deceased, who it would be?
Again, it will be Stephen Schwarzman of Blackstone,
Mm.
because I think he has played a very important role in changing the how we look at real estate and
Mm.
how we manage real estate in a professional manner.
And if you had to ask him two important things, what it would be?
What it takes,
Okay.
and uh, another question would be probably is how he can impart that knowledge
Mm.
to a lot of youngsters like us,
Mm.
because he's an inspiring character.
Thank you so much, Naveen, for joining us today on Let's Talk Business
The
by
pleasure was
Reality
again all
NXT.
mine.
And it was very insightful to know more about ArisUnitern and also to know more about the technical questions that I had asked you. It's quite insightful. I'm sure our viewers would be also more aware about the company, be more aware and educated about AIF and the technical things that we discussed. Yeah.
Thank you.